Hi, this is Synthtopia. My name is George Hearn. I am here representing UDO. UDO are a musical instrument manufacturing company, and we are a collaboration of designers, engineers, and musicians of varying talents. And I can't actually play the keys, I'll give you a demo, but we still like to think of ourselves as musicians. And we have come here with the Super 6. The Super 6 is our first product under our own label, and it is a 12-voice polyphonic binaural analog hybrid synthesizer. And it is a very sort of performance-orientated instrument, we like to think. Everything's very, very hands-on. It's laid out nice and easy. The controls are very robust and very solid. We have a really robust chassis here. Nice performance controls to the left of the keyboard. Everything is really geared up for this to be a kind of performance instrument. And we hope it sounds good too. We have a sort of a more pared back and a more rare, more raw take on the sort of traditional analog synthesizer. And so, so it's basically got FPGA digital oscillators at its core. That lets us do some pretty fancy things with the sound. Then it has analog filters and amplifiers. And it's called the Super 6, despite being 12-voice polyphonic, because it really has 6 super voices, where we use one voice for each channel, and we phase and modulate each voice independently in order to give a nice spatial character to the sound. But you can actually turn that feature off, and you can decouple it, and it can become 12 voices. So you can play it, but then they're 12 monophonic voices, well, not monophonic, 12 polyphonic voices, but monaural. But yeah, and that's the Super 6. So you've got a very, very classic architecture, should be really familiar with, you know, for people who like this kind of instrument, with modulators, oscillators right in the middle with your filter controls right here. Sort of most of your sound shaping is right in the middle. Envelopes, LFOs, and a nice left-hand performance section with portamento octave controls. We have a modulation matrix. We also have a nice feature here where we allow you to have 16 different complex waveform shapes. These are changeable and downloadable. You can put them onto the instrument. This is very much a prototype, I must stress. This is a sort of pre-production, preview prototype. And so it's only really doing a fraction of what it will eventually do, but hopefully you can still get some pretty good sounds out of it. So I can give you a little bit of a demo, but bear in mind we have no presets and we have no effects. Everything you're hearing is dry. This is just the character of the synthesizer. There is no processing, there's no reverb, there's no chorus, there's no delay. But yeah, it's kind of an improvisation. I can't save the sound, so we're just going to start from where it is and see where it goes. Okay. I'm going to use headphones if it's all right, because I can't hear a thing in what's going on here. very, very many instruments are stereo, for sure, absolutely. But do synthesizers of this kind actually consider that the entire path can be stereo, and that how you control each side of it can help you position the sound. So I'm not sure whether it will come across well in the video, depending on how you listen to it. But you'll hear that the actual sound of this synthesizer is very much decoupled in the stereo space. You can't quite position it. And that's actually a very, very useful feature when you're stacking up layering up different sounds together. It's also very useful when you're playing in a kind of live context with other instruments. And so really the binaural aspect means that we take two synthesizer voices, one for each ear. It's a very simple concept. And we use the oscillators for each side, filters for each side, amplifiers, modulators for each side, even envelopes, LFOs for both channels. And it's how we subtly control the phase of each of those to basically really give the sound a bit of depth, basically, and to stop it sounding like it's banging in the middle of the speakers, and really help it without effects, without any reverb, chorus, anything. Everything you're hearing there is dry, to help the sound feel complete and full without post-processing. And it's subtle, but it can sort of, with this control, which is not enabled on this prototype, you can push it to the extremes, so that with our phase control on the LFO, for example, you can dephase any of the LFO destinated parameters, which can include audio rate, FM, and anything through the modulation matrix. So hopefully, sort of, yeah, using a bit of imagination, you can see that lets you do some pretty interesting things with the actual movement and positioning of the sound. So this instrument, we almost didn't bring it, I'm going to be honest. I put the screws in this particular one myself, 10 minutes before the taxi picked me up from the airport. But, that said, actually it has been in development for quite a long time. The instruments are at least stable here. They just don't have all features enabled. Hardware-wise, this is pretty much what you're going to buy. Admittedly, these ones have suffered a little road damage. I think it adds to their character. We'll be hoping to fulfill orders autumn this year, realistically around November. And street price is between £2,000 and £2,500 UK pounds. So we can't commit to an exact price of this or an exact date right now, but end of autumn this year and around that price range.